Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash, the show where AI goes from hype to habit. I'm your host, Rajeev Sajja. Each week, we make AI approachable and actionable for real estate professionals who want to stay ahead of the curve. From lead generation to listing presentations, from marketing strategy to client experience, you'll hear how top agents and industry leaders are using AI to work smarter, save time, and grow their business. So whether you're just getting started or already experimenting with AI tools, this podcast gives you ideas you can use right now. Now let's get to this week's special guest. Welcome to Real Estate AI Flash. I can't believe we're in January 2026. It seems like AI has been here for a decade, but it's only been a little over 3 years now. And I believe I have a very special guest today, Lauren Lucas with Keller Williams Capital Properties from Columbus, Ohio. And Lauren has a career in real estate. What I love about Lauren, and the reason I wanted to have her on the podcast, was she is a practicing real estate agent, successful team, and then she saw the AI opportunity. She transitioned to getting her feet wet in AI, building stuff for her team, and then obviously teaching people so it can be made. The mission of our podcast, Lauren, is to make AI approachable and actionable, and I can't think of a better guest to have on the pod. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm told my superpower is making very complex things easy to understand. So I think we're on the same wavelength.
Perfect. That's right. Exactly right. So I gave you like an elevator pitch for probably a storied career in progress. So if you could take our listening audience to your background, I heard somewhere, the rumor has it that your parents were worked for the state as cops. So
Yes.
Start wherever you want to start and bring us to today.
Yeah, so I'm a small town Ohio kid. Both my parents were state highway patrol. One worked the midnight shift, one worked the day shift. And so as most kids do, I followed in their footsteps. And I went to college and got a degree in criminal justice administration. I took a very hard left at 27 when I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm pushing papers. I'm asking another adult when I can take vacation, and this just isn't for me. So I jumped into real estate in 2017 and haven't looked back. Grew a team, grew a portfolio of Airbnbs, long-term rentals. We flip properties, have a coaching program, and kind of just built some entrepreneurial lifestyle over the last 9 years.
Nice. And you, so that transitions me to the first question, which is, I love to ask all my guests, what was your first light bulb moment with AI?
Yeah, so my first light bulb moment with AI was in 2023. I was at Forward Mastermind with Neil Dingra, who's a mortgage lender.
Right.
And Gary Vee was on stage. And Gary Vee, I've always looked up to him. He's a pretty bright guy who typically knows more faster than a lot of people. And he looked in the audience and he said, how many of you are using Google? And about half the audience raised their hand. He said, how many of you are using AI? And about the other half of the audience raised their hand. And I was like, whoa. Half the people are using AI instead of Google. And so that was kind of my light bulb moment of I should probably start to figure out what this is. And then fast forward, quarter 3, quarter 4, we had 7 agents on our team and we lost half of our team overnight. 2 of them decided to go off on their own. One was a part-time agent. We just said, hey, call a spade a spade. And the other just got out of the industry altogether. And so because I had that itch to figure out what AI could do for us, I just put my head down for about 18 months and just built automation after automation. And it was the loneliest, most frustrating 18 months of my life. And then I looked up this May and everyone's like, hey, we need that. And now I travel over the world and talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. So this is a fun story for you. So I recently, maybe 6 months ago, I built an AI board of directors. When I have a thought or idea, I want to just get a thought. So I have 6 board of directors. It's a ChatGPT project trained with their thinking, all that stuff. Gary Vee is one of them on the board. So it's a fun coincidence, but I don't think it's that coincidental, actually, with this forward thinking, obviously. So,
That's amazing.
so let's talk a little bit about, you have a very unique perspective. You've been an agent. You still sort of are in that mold. You're teaching agents. So let's get into some specific AI use cases that you're seeing agents collapse time, increase productivity, drive revenue to the bottom line. Wherever you want to start.
Totally. The top 2 that I see are the most productive are becoming more efficient using AI and lead generation using AI.
Yeah.
And so 2 free platforms I use for efficiency are Google's AI Studio, where I can literally turn on the streaming feature and have it walk me through step by step. I can build anything I need without having to know how to code. And then the second is Google's NotebookLM, where I can collapse 50 hours of content into a notebook and have a chatbot, a podcast, flashcards, frequently asked questions, and a study guide within seconds.
Yeah.
And then for lead generation, for $15, I can use something like ManyChat, who will automate all of my DMs, all of my comments, and save me a lot of time while engaging with my consumer on social. And so between those three platforms, I've got efficiency dialed in while lead generating, and so I can make more time or make more money in less time.
Yeah, no. So doubling down on the Google stuff, I think Google's caught up to ChatGPT. They just started. They can actually overtake ChatGPT just because of the resources they have, and the Google ecosystem. For me, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're a Google company, so we've launched the Gemini for Google Workspace for all the agents and employees and stuff. So I think you'll get a kick out of this. So they launched Flows. Have you played with Flows?
I have not. No.
So Flows is I think the URL is maybe it's like Workspace Flows or flows.workspace.google.com. Anyway, if you have Gmail on the top right, you'll see the Gemini like star icon. To the left of it, there's a different icon now. If it's rolled out, your Workspace admin has to turn it on, but Flows is there. So Flows is the way of you just talking to AI and building an AI agent. Like
I love
literally,
that.
it just yeah, and the beauty of it is instead of using connectors in ChatGPT to get the Google stuff, here it goes through your entire Google workspace. It's all connected.
Yeah.
So I built a couple of agents over the weekend, and I said, "Oh, holy crap, this is good stuff!" It's like literally, conversational AI, right? Which is where we are. So, and I'm a big fan of NotebookLM. I got like so many notebooks, it's not even funny. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So just doubling down a little bit on ManyChat, right? And there's a couple of guests that have talked about ManyChat. It's a great tool to sort of cultivate and nurture people. What else are you seeing in lead generation circles to kind of drive more? One of the things agents do is they list properties, they find buyers for properties, they prospect. Obviously, ManyChat helps in prospecting and kind of
Yeah.
driving them down the funnel. Anything else you're seeing in lead generation that's working for agents?
Yeah, totally. So I made a grave mistake of teaching someone in my own market center how to do this. And she actually built a bot that has automated all of her expired listings for sale, or I'm sorry, expired letters, for sale by owner letters, absentee owners, probate. And so all she has to do is take a list and drop it into a Google spreadsheet. And using a platform called make.com, she's
Yeah.
automated that the list goes to chat writes the letter goes to her template, sends it off to thanks.io, where they will actually print it, stuff it, stamp it, and send it all on her behalf. And so what used to take 4 or 5, 6 hours of writing these letters, it still looks handwritten and it's all automated.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
crazy. Yeah, I think N8N and Make.com are great automation, and then you can overlay AI whenever you feel it's appropriate, like writing, content creation.
Yep.
And I think ChatGPT's apps and their apps SDK, I mean, it's still not easily accessible for most users that are non-coders. But the flow stuff that I just talked about with Google is just like literally, I felt like it's a little rusty in some areas. It's not as polished as Make, but I think they just kind of killed Make and N8N in the
Yeah.
Google ecosystem. I think. So yeah. So anything else that you're seeing since you do a lot of keynotes, Lauren? I mean, there's some topics that you talk about that just like suddenly you see the audience's eyes lit up and like light bulb moments. Anything else that we've not touched on?
Yeah, I think a lot of it in real estate in general is a lot of people don't understand who their ideal client is. So when we
Yeah.
are posting to social media, when we are writing newsletters and blogs and things like that, we're trying to talk to everybody. And so we're really not talking to anybody. And so AI can help us actually set, if I said, hey, I'm Lauren, I own a real estate team in Columbus, I want to work with first time home buyers, it would actually tell me what their pain points are, what's keeping them up at night. And so then I can create content around speaking to how do you save for down payment? How do you increase your credit score? How to avoid inspection mistakes and things like that. And so when I am posting, instead of posting in vain and just posting to post, I'm solving problems for people. And now I become the authority of what it is that they need. And when I can create automations behind that, so I'm using AI to figure out who I'm talking to, what their pain points are, creating something of value, whether that's a custom GPT or a lead magnet of some sort, I actually created this. So for buyers, I created a custom GPT that will help educate them on how to increase their credit score, how to save for down payment. It's trained on the 105 things that a buyer's agent does for them. It's trained on my vendor list, so it knows who to recommend. It's trained on
Yeah.
who I am. And every question they ask, it just sends them back to me. So it's an extension of my team where they can get their questions answered when they wake up at 2 a.m. and they're like, oh, I wonder what this is. I have full control of the conversation that's
Data.
happening because
Yeah.
I've trained it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's a great way to think about AI, extending the service you offer to your buyers and sellers, the knowledge, the expertise, 24/7. We
Yep.
recently had Jashelle Soligran from Remax in Seattle, and she built an AI bot that basically is like Ask Jashelle anything. Like
Yeah.
literally it's the same concept. So that's great. So you have a team, obviously, right, in Columbus. So you sort of do stuff for your own productivity, your
Mhm.
own AI productivity, but there's also team productivity, which you touched on a little bit. If you are what advice would you have for agents? Since you do a lot of keynotes, sometimes when I start to speak to people, and there are a few people in the audience, a small subset that can completely relate to everything I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
so you need to
Very,
dumb down a little bit before common ground before you get to higher ground, right, Lauren?
yeah.
So a majority of them are in their early stages of embracing AI, which is okay. And I tell people just be this time next year in 2027, you should not be in the same spot as 2026. You should have
Right.
embraced it more. What advice would you have for agents, and where do you help them? How do they start their journey or progress on their journey on AI?
Absolutely. So first, letting AI understand who you are, what you do, who you service, where you service them. So
Yeah.
personally, for me, I give it, a knowledge base of here's my website, here's all the frequently asked questions
Yeah.
we get, here's Google reviews to show you exactly what our keywords are and things like that. And then the best part about AI is if you don't know what it could do for you, you could ask it. I could say, hey, I'm an agent in Columbus, Ohio, and I have no idea what you're even able to do for me. Break down the top 5 or 10 things that you could do in my business to save me time, make me more money, whatever my end goal is. And it will
Yeah.
actually tell you. And you could just turn on dictate and talk to it, and it will talk back and it will record the entire thing.
Yeah. So the other thing that most agents, at least we all start here, right? Just replacement for Google. To your analogy, Gary Vee said, "How many of you are using it?" But starting and just replacing it and asking questions is one thing, but very few ask it to interview you. Like I've
Yep.
had AI interview you on topics, like one question at a time. Otherwise, it blurts out like 50 at a time.
Yep.
So, and it literally gets to know you so well that kind of goes to exactly what you're saying. So let's move to team productivity. You mentioned a little bit about lead cultivation. One of your in your market center built something that was obviously fascinating. Anything you're seeing at a team level for team leaders listening to this podcast? How would you have them approach AI beyond their own personal productivity? Anything you
100%.
would?
Personally, for me, I would create a custom GPT specifically for each one of my agents to know
Mm-hmm.
what their disc test, what their KPA, what their love languages are. That way, when I do have to have a tough conversation, or I do need to say, hey, so and so is not producing, what could they be doing? It knows them just as much as it knows me. Other things that I could do is put all of my systems, my processes within the team and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
find the holes. What are we missing? What are we avoiding? How can we make this better? And update all of my standard operating procedures if I even have standard operating procedures. There's a lot of people who don't have them, and that's okay too. If we don't have them, we could turn ChatGPT on and just say, when I take a listing, here's the step-by-step process of everything that we do. Create me a standard operating procedure. Boom. Now hand that off to your VA or your director of operations. When we take a buyer, here's exactly what we do. Boom. And just streamline everything. That way I've got more leverage.
Yeah, and if you don't have an SOP, standard operating, have AI interview you to build one.
Yeah,
Start there,
100%.
and then I recently was talking to a top team at one of the companies, and I said, since you are in the process of bringing on a lot of agents to your team, how about building an onboarding GPT for them to get to know everything you
Yeah,
do and how you function as a team? There's so many use cases, right? Your creativity is the only limitation you have with AI, right?
yep,
So, and you're obviously with Keller Williams, and our podcast is brand agnostic. If we can make the industry better with AI, everybody wins, right? And that's the purpose.
absolutely.
I'd love to hear your perspective. if a brokerage leader is listening to this podcast, right, and there's a few that do listen to our podcast, I would love for you to kind of paint a picture of what should they be thinking about, not just at an agent level. Agents like the easy button. Like press the button, stuff happens, right, for the most part. They're amazing
Yes.
human connectors, but they're average at technology. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. What would you recommend to a brokerage real estate leader above a team now, a little bit, that runs companies? How would you have them think about AI as a transformative engine?
It's a really good point, because in Keller Williams, we use it often to recruit. But I think that if you can actually take the skill, learn it yourself, and understand, P&L is a great place. Where can they become more profitable? And we can tell it to be Mike. I'll never pronounce his last name correctly, but like if I wanted to say be Mike who wrote Profit First, I could say take this P&L and show me how I can be more profitable. Or I could take their systems and their processes, or their team, their interview processes, their life story, and just make them more efficient to bring in more revenue and become more profitable in their businesses. If I'm an agent who's struggling with that, and a brokerage took the time to sit me down, and because they know how to use the AI skill, it will only take them an hour or two to break down, hey, here's exactly how you can become X% more profitable next year. I'm not going anywhere if they can show me that. If they can help me get to that point, I'm there for life.
Yeah, a great point. I mean, I think, I find, I don't know, I would love to hear your take as we get to the final questions, but I find a lot of agents, or really people embracing AI, seem to get some level of productivity boost bolting on AI to existing processes. Hey, I want to create a content, I can bolt it on and kind of do better with voice, tone, all that stuff. Brokerage leaders, I believe, real estate company leaders should really rethink the process ground up to reinvent it from AI. I take the simple example of, think of the help desk systems that big companies use. I feel like SaaS companies are in trouble if you just simply offer a help desk system. I could take all the data and build an AI engine. I don't need the licenses that companies pay for. I think that's where they need to start rethinking, and how can we add value to agents 24/7 so they'll never think of leaving. I think that's a great takeaway to completely rethink. And I feel like CEOs, leaders, unless they've had their holy crap moment that this business is going to completely be shifted with AI, some have it, some have not. I think 2026, I hope everybody has their holy shift moment. That I think it's business transformation, really, at work, slowly but surely. So anything else you want to add to that, Lauren?
I just think that it's very important to understand, I say this all the time, but AI is not here to replace us as the agent. But the agents who are utilizing AI are absolutely going to take market share, in a sense of, in 2 to 5 years, those who are not using AI are going to be irrelevant in the industry. And I don't say that to be ugly. I say that to be realistic.
Plus, I heard a stat a couple of months ago. I know we're recording this earlier, but a couple of months ago that said there's 800 million people using ChatGPT in the world. In the U.S., it's 70 million.
Yeah.
So that is significant number and I think that number is going to just keep growing and growing. So our consumers, to your point, buyers, sellers are using ChatGPT. And so how are you going to be ahead of the game to actually influence and lead them better? So you need to sort of embrace it at that level also.
Well, did you see the NAR stat that just came out?
Yeah,
I think it was
82
quarter 3.
and 81, like right after, like second in the list, right?
Well, ChatGPT, there's only 58% of agents who say they use ChatGPT. So whether
Oh, that
that's,
one. Okay, no, I was saying
yeah,
consumers using ChatGPT about home ownership and
yeah,
stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah.
numbers are
But
climbing. So
we have to,
yeah,
and one of my favorite quotes is Wayne Gretzky. We can't skate to where the puck is going, or I'm sorry, we can't skate to where the puck is. We have to skate to where the puck is
right.
going. And if we
Yeah.
don't know where it's going, how can we lead our clients, or our clients are going to get information faster and we're going to become irrelevant to them unless we're on the same wave.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I could talk to you all day long, okay, but I respect your time. I think we think alike in terms of our purpose and things of that nature. But I want to first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast. I think this is incredibly valuable. Continued success, and I always ask my guests 2 closing questions. And I'd love to hear your perspective because I think you've gone through a few transitions in your career based on what you've just told me. So if you were starting in the business today, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oof, the one thing I wish I would have done better is my database. I wish I would have
Yeah.
started it sooner. I wish I would have kept up with it better. I wish I've kept it clean because there's a lot of dollars in your database. But
Yeah.
if you don't,
Yeah.
if
No.
you don't know who's there or what they're doing, you can't get those dollars.
Yeah. So fun story. This past week, I met with a top agent, $60 million producer. And she said, Rajeev, I think all my database is in my email. I need to extract it. I mean, like, that's probably true. It's scary, but it's true for a lot of people.
100%.
And I've always, she said, is there any way to extract name, first name, last name, email from my email, Gmail? And I've always, I don't know about you, I've always like said, the last 2 years I've asked can AI help me with this? So I went down a rabbit hole for like 90 minutes. And it turns out the AI agent stuff I talked about with Google, I just worked through it and I built it and it just ran. And it just pulled the 811 contacts, first name, last name in a spreadsheet. And I sent it to her and I said, holy shit, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
And so to your point, I think sometimes curiosity is the best weapon you have. I mean, if you're curious, and sometimes it took me down rabbit holes, I wasted like 3 hours and didn't get anywhere, but I learned something. But then some
Exactly.
unlocked, you have your light bulb moments, but that's a great takeaway. So
I
last
actually,
question. Go ahead.
1 second for that. So on one of my slides in my keynote, I literally have a slide that says, you do not need to be techie. You need to be curious. Because even if you
100%.
took 5 minutes before you make any decision, it doesn't even have to be business, just in life. Hey, I'm about to make this decision. Here are my options. What am I missing? And just talk to it. And
Yeah.
it's gonna blow your mind how much more it can, one, make your life efficient, but also get more brain space available to you because you're not bogged down with so much.
Yeah, 100%. So final question. Are you a book or a podcast person?
I'm a book person, but I do like podcasts when I'm driving because I drive so often.
I hear you. I hear you. Fly, drive. Yeah, we do a lot of those stuff. So you can give me one in each category. Give me one book and one podcast that have probably influenced you more in shaping you who you are today that our listeners should plug into.
Yeah, so I think that the latest book that has shaped me a lot is 10x is easier than 2x because I was always in the day to day and I was like, do a little bit more, do a little bit more, do a little bit more, not realizing, oh crap, I could do a lot more and it's the same amount of effort and it's actually kind of easier. So I
Yeah.
read that earlier last year. And it was one of those things that just, I started to implement it and it just kind of blew up where I'm at, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then for podcasts, I'm a big Hormozy fan, and Layla
Oh
has a
yeah, I like
great
Hormozy.
podcast called Build, where she's just real and about building teams and about the mistakes that she's made. And being a female entrepreneur, I mean, I respect the heck out of her. So that's probably my favorite podcast right now.
Yeah. So who's the author on the 10x is greater than the 2x piece? Do you know the
It's
author on the book?
Dr. Ben Hardy.
Ben Hardy. Okay. Yeah, we'll put a link to these 2 things in the show notes. So Lauren, thank you so much. Continued success. I'll be watching you from afar. And if there's anything I could do in the Philadelphia area or wherever I'm traveling to, and if I can be of any help, feel free to reach out. And I hope to meet you in person sometime real soon.
Perfect. Sounds great. I appreciate you and the opportunity.
My takeaway from Lauren is simple. Stay curious and keep learning AI. She went from experimenting in Google's AI Studio and NotebookLM to building practical chatbots that answer client questions and support lead generation. The opportunities keep expanding if you stay curious and take action. If this episode helped you, follow the show so you can get the new releases every Wednesday, share it with someone in the industry, and leave a review so we can reach more real estate professionals like you.